This session, it's called a candid talk, men's talk on becoming a man. Thank you all for your responses. I think the human person, the key word for us as human beings is intimacy. And that intimacy is intimacy with the Creator himself and intimacy with the partner that you are going to create another human being. Those are the key things that we search for as being. We're searching for meaning in life. And that comes out of that. I spend time with my little grandson, and he goes around, but he's always looking for you. Oh, okay, that's even when you go in the bathroom, he goes like this after you. So there's a human connection. Human connection. We are social beings. We're created to be in relationship with each other. And the most intense of all relationship is that intimacy with the Creator and intimacy with your partner. And those two key areas, the way we're introduced to those two, kind of like shape our lives. If you are in a household where everything they tell you, you go to hell, you go to hell, what does that do to you? Fear.
Of course, definitely.
It's like you whatever you do is, oh, I'm going to hell. It can be such, and fear is not really of God. Fear can be debilitating. When every little thing is fear, it creates something. Your ability as a child to explore, your ability as a child to be yourself. Now they're putting that fear everywhere you look, and actually creates a distance between you and the Creator, because everything you do now is like fear, fear, fear. Same thing with intimacy with your partner. If everything we've been taught, don't do this, and you get slapped here, or erased from this person who you're supposed to be with, to be intimate, to create another. And that's why education, one cannot stress it enough. And I find that greatly lacking, especially if you're from my generation, greatly lacking in we came into fear. You the way you talk, the way you walk, they control everything, because it's all based on fear. Don't do this, don't look at it. You even see a man going by, they slap you from behind. Why are you looking at that man? I have it's like nobody even sits you down to explain. And what you see in the script that we read, the father said nobody told him. Like, can you find the riddle that it says, now that you have found what's in the cupboard, don't go there? How is a child supposed to understand all that, or a young person?
I think that's $1 million question. How can a child comprehend what he or she doesn't know?
You are grown and say, now that you know what's in the cupboard, don't go there again, or something worse will happen to you. Come on, can you explain that in plain language? Right there, you said confusion.
Yeah.
That's what his father told him. And of course, he went ahead and got another girl pregnant. And then they brought that one to the house. Then they brought another one to the house. So
yes.
We have all come from societies where, personally, I think they do a disservice to us by not having those simple conversations. And just as you grow, there's a level of discussions they should have with you. They won't throw everything at you, just like as you don't experience life in one big blow. Little by little, that's what parenting is about. Guiding your children from kindergarten, first grade, to secondary school. That's why education is not one time they put into your head. Same thing should be happening on.
Carol, may I ask you, do you think your father knew this? Your father or your mother knew this? Or do you think my own father or mother knew this?
They probably didn't.
That's the point. That's precisely the point I'm trying to make, because their own concept of upbringing is nothing close to what you are saying now.
I agree.
My father never thought maybe he had to teach me how to be sexual or what sex is. Maybe in my imagination, what I thought because of what he was telling me is how to grow up to be strong, be a big farmer, and eventually all these other peripheral issues that we are talking about now were strictly peripheral and they will come after. My mother thought, for example, that if you are a man, it is the responsibility of the father to bring you up. It is only the girls she probably have to teach how to cook or how to be a good housewife. And that didn't even involve sex. It didn't involve sex education or so. There's a bit of disconnect. That's what I'm trying to make. That
I agree with you.
is generational, because what your father thought was his responsibility to you is not what you are thinking now was his responsibility to you.
I also think, in those days, I think parents were reluctant to teach children sex because they felt it might be abused. Because sex is a sweet thing, even till date. Parents find it difficult to pass this message across to children because they feel it's not the primary thing the children should know about. They are all bothered about their academic, growth in life and moral, upbringing, and they feel maybe at that stage, maybe sex is not what they should be told about, because sex is interesting, it is sweet, and their thought is that if children get to start knowing about sex, it might be like a distraction, a very big one for that matter, and they start abusing it. When something is sweet, you want to, keep trying it over and over again. And then before you know what is happening, you lose concentration, with your academics. So I guess that's the reason why parents are not usually in a hurry to start, teaching their children about sex. So it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. So it depends on the situation you find yourself.
I still think, it's still part of parents' responsibility to teach everything that they know. And because, believe it or not, they will go somewhere else to find it. And they may not find it right. They will, whether it's alcohol or whatever it is, they will find it. Whatever you're hiding, they will find it. So it's always better, I understand. I'm not trying to condemn the parents, and that's what they know at that point. But my thing is, as we evolve and everything is changing, we have no excuse not to have that conversation.
Carol, it also depends on the level. Okay, right now, if you go to the villages in Nigeria, their level of sexual education is to the minimum. They don't know anything. We still advise their daughter or whatever this or what we are saying. But when you go where you are educated now, you will know what to tell your daughter, or you know what to tell your son because of your level of education. But that period of time, they lack all those education. They don't have it. Even up to today, going to that village, what will you tell you? Say, come on, you sit down, let me tell you how this thing. They might look at it as an abomination or something, which this thing. So that's just what it is. So that's why when you used to go to the villages back there in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, in most of the main countries in the world that are primitive, these things, it still exists. It's only the way it's possible is by reading, TV, or every media for them for them to know what what it is all about. So that is just what I can say.
Osi, you were saying?
Yeah, you see, let me use another analogy. You see, I know a lot of parents, or should I say fathers, who, because they don't want their daughters to be promiscuous or have relations with men, they lock them up in the house. In fact, they are prisoners because they want to make sure that the girls remain safe. Then the girls get into university and go into the hostel or go into second, and you know what happens? It's always what the father fears or what the parent fears that happens. You see, the key is not to isolate. The key is to, like you said, disseminate little by little, small, give out this information. Yeah, I agree. In the past, parents completely, because of the different way of thinking or the way society was, so it didn't occur to them that they needed to have that discussion. But now parents are at least are realizing that, look, things are not, that is not the best way, probably not the best way to get things done. So we need to have this talk. But the question now, the only question I think that needs to be answered is how much and how fast do you disseminate it? Do you start telling them earlier on or wait until they are a bit older or what? But we all know that that discussion, it might not be 100%, but it needs to be had. Honestly, that's the way I say it. So the same thing with if you don't want your child to be promiscuous or you want to keep your child safe, then you need to do everything in bits so you can expose them to a little danger or to have the talk with them a little bit, but control so that everything remains under control, that you can, I mean, in a controlled environment, and you can control everything that is happening. Because if you don't, you either make the child a misfit in the society that does, or you completely just make the child weak. So anything can go. I mean, anything can happen to that child. So I agree. Having the talk is very important, but the question is, when should it start? Just how much of it must you have? But the parents owe the child that responsibility to have that talk.
Yes,
that's my own take on it.
So add to that, yeah, I think the talk is very important, and that seems to be one of the best way to ensure children don't become promiscuous. Now, one thing I observe that children do, or what will help them, because one thing is to talk to them, like you mentioned earlier, another thing for them to learn it elsewhere. Okay, so I think one thing they will need is for them to develop that trust and confidence in you as a parent. If children can start developing trust and confidence in you as a parent for other things, the day you start talking to them about sex, they will also pay attention to it, so that even when they go out and they find themselves in a situation, the first thing they will occur to them is what you said and not what other people are saying. So when you allow your children to develop trust and confidence in what you say and what you do, you ensure that whatever you say is what you practice. All right, you be like a role model for your children.
That is
it will go a long way.
Honestly, you just nail it. That is so key, because they are like they have a camera in their eyes.
So they're like sponges. They soak all the information, everything they see.
Everything they see in you, you have lost credibility. And once you lose credibility with your children, it doesn't matter what you say. They probably pick it from outside before they talk to you. And then it doesn't leave. When they're doing something that they're not supposed to, they can't come to you because they've seen you do things that you are not supposed to.
Yes, worse things.
Or worse things. And we forget these little holes, and that's where bad things happen, when you create those little holes for bad things to come into the family. To be a parent, I don't know, and that's the thing, there's no school per se, and I think there should be a school for parenting. We just go into it, and again, there should be something that guides you. It's such, because if that's not done right, you mess up on the children. Everything begins from home, and it comes with the parents' credibility. Yeah. If you whatever you do, the children pick it up. And you cannot preach one thing and do another. They'll see that too. So thank you so much for this gathering.
Good. So you let us have a feedback as to what you got from this and how this might be of value or addition to the book.
It's apart from the book. I think for us, we are minds that having conversation, because as we have this conversation, we are also be having the same kind with other people wherever we go. It makes us more comfortable to have this discussion with others.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we are all influencers in our
Yeah, the
wherever
reason I said that, I have sent this invitation to 3 platforms I belong to. Unfortunately, none of them joined now. I also sent it to some individuals that I had wanted to be part of this discussion, but again, none of them joined.
we are learning, and through us, we are part of the evolution to change the world that we live in to a better place. And where else can you do it better than where we've started?
All right.
So
Thank you very much, Carol. And thank you all my family members that were here present.
Thank you so much. From
It's
London,
unfortunate that,
from
a lot of the people I
Canada,
invited didn't join.
Nigeria. Thank you
Yeah,
so much
thanks
for joining.
everyone.
Thank you for
Kelechi, thanks for coming.
Good
Oh
talk.
my Lord.
Good talk. Good talk.
thank you
Prof.
so much.